you make it?
It's what a strange couple of days weather-wise we've been having.
It's been insane.
Right? I went outside, the sun, it's 51. It didn't actually feel too bad in the sun.
Yeah. We walked across the park. It's kind of windy, so that kind of got you. But as soon as we hit the shade, we were like, oh,
yeah.
that's quite a bit colder there.
Yeah.
The sun definitely helps, but it's nice to see the sun.
It is nice to see the sun.
I feel like it's been absent a lot.
Yeah. Yes. Randomly, it's sunny and then it's snowing.
I got new sunglasses for Christmas, and I haven't had much opportunity to use them this winter. Winter shouldn't mean you don't need sunglasses.
I know, right? We definitely live in gray.
It's been very much so.
But
we have some fun things to talk about today.
Yes. We're continuing on the
Serger train.
Yes, the Serger train. Choo-choo.
It's like the Soul Train, but it's the Serger train.
Yes.
Lots going on, though. There is so many fun things that this little guy does, and it's got so many bells and whistles in it that they have put in there to make this just the phenomenal 4-thread.
It is a really, really nice machine. If I were going to buy a 4-thread, it is definitely the one that I would buy. Yes.
Absolutely. I think we've mentioned this before, but if you have room for the two machines, this would be the overlock machine that we would purchase, and then have the Euphoria as your combo to do the cover hem side of those.
Yes.
So it's definitely got a lot. I love this because it has all of those safety features in it, which I have resigned myself that I'm a lazy serger, evidently, because I don't like to put the foot down. So whenever I'm sewing on a machine that doesn't catch that, I tend to have problems.
Yes.
So this machine, it has that safety feature built in.
Does.
It will not let you sew with the foot up.
It's like when you're on your regular sewing machine and you have the option of using the button or the lever, and then sometimes you use the button and sometimes you use the lever,
and then the other one doesn't work.
Doesn't work, and and you just keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you were like,
push.
This is not that complicated.
It shouldn't be this complicated,
but I'm
right?
like stuck on some hamster wheel, whether or not my foot's gonna go up.
Yeah, but it definitely, you can put quite a bit under the foot, and because of that, it looks like the foot's down so often, even when it's not. And I definitely make that mistake personally. So if you guys out there, you're not alone.
Right.
It's a thing.
It's definitely a thing.
And unfortunately, those stitches are a pain in the rump to remove.
Even when they're sloppy.
I mean, there's just so much thread, and you get extra thread. So it really just compounds the situation. So, it is definitely no fun to have to deal with that. So that is one of the things that I love about this one.
Yep.
I really like the wave stitch, which we're going to show you today. There's not always the opportunity to use it, but you can make opportunities to use it. You can use it as a regular seam, and then just have it show. And instead of, you can kind of reverse and have that pop out for you if you would like.
Exactly.
It's a very fun stitch.
Yep, and we have 3 cameras set up on the machine today,
Yeah,
so Lisa
I'm
can't
not
move.
moving. I'm going to try to tuck my elbows in and leave them tucked so I don't knock a camera over.
To try to give you guys a different view.
A little bit.
This machine here has a clear cover on it, which none of our other machines have. It doesn't come with the machine, but it's one of those little things that Baby Lock gave us so that you can kind of see what's going on. So we're actually gonna, we have one camera facing down on that, so while we're serging, you can see sort of the inner workings of
all of the stuff moving in there. So just yours would be solid white if you decide to purchase one of these. It won't have the kind of different look going on there.
Yeah.
And evidently it's not fun to put on. Tony was like, I'm not doing that for anybody else.
Right?
He's like, that's it, I'm done.
I'm done.
Shirley, I'm so glad you enjoyed class. I just thought that little thing was just the cutest thing. So
those trinket trays were fun.
The trinket trays came out great, and I enjoyed class with everyone yesterday. So thanks to all of you that joined me.
Yes. We are in shop hop mode at the shop. So we're frantically ordering fabric. I know there's not a ton of people watching right now, but we are actually going to start carrying Tula pink fabric, and so we placed.
Leabu's live.
In
Just in case you didn't
case
know.
we didn't know, we placed our first order, and some of it is on its way. So we should be getting some new fabric soon. And
we also ordered a slew of batik fabric.
yep. So I don't know. I think close to 50 bolts.
It's close to 50 bolts of batik, and it's like 40 bolts of Tula that we've ordered. We aren't getting all of the Tula right away.
Yeah.
Some won't come for another month or so, but we are going to be a Tula pink dealer.
Yeah.
So you know,
if you don't
we're
know
not going backwards, but
No.
you know, moving forward, we hopefully, anyways, we'll have all of the different things.
If you don't know who Tula is, you should Google it. She's got some really fun.
It's very fun. Sometimes it's more fun than I can take, but
Big,
she's also
bold prints.
very bold prints, which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
But you sometimes have to have the right place to put them.
Yeah.
But her coordinating pieces are absolutely
for.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So even if you're not into the we'll just call it the crazier stuff.
Yes, the more modern.
The more, there is a lot of coordinating things that are absolutely stunning that would go with so many other things as well. So I'm super excited because it's going to give us all more opportunity. Sarah and Tucker and Hayden are like, I don't know.
We're like little kids
I didn't
in a candy
catch
shop.
them dancing a jig in the back room or anything, but it was close.
It was close.
It was really close.
Yeah, sometimes the three of us go on a road trip to a different shop so that we can buy it. So now we'll be able to buy it from
we'll
here.
all be happy.
Yes, my stash is going to grow.
And you know, if you've been hanging around us for a long time, we used to almost exclusively have batiks. We had very few prints back in the day, and it got to be where the batiks that we had were here for too long, and so we stopped doing them. We started doing prints, and there have been a lot of questions of, you know, what do you have in batiks? What do you have in batiks? And so we talked about it, and part of the shop hop was part of the reasoning to build our repertoire of stuff. But we have been asked quite a bit, so it'll be fun. And we started with the collection, so it's not like a rainbow or anything like that. It's all coordinating different pieces, and then we hit it and just we want this one and this one and some random things as well. So
yeah, we're excited.
Figuring out where we're going to put it all, because that's the thing.
Yes. And the Shop Hop fabric is live, and you can pre-order it.
Pre-order that.
And a bunch of you have already pre-ordered. If you are thinking about getting the Shop Hop fabric, you should get it now. There is no guarantee, this is going to sound crazy, that it will actually even be here when the Shop Hop starts.
We may be sold out before it even becomes June.
Right,
yes,
and
it could happen.
Don't believe that we will be the only ones in that ballpark. It is not something that they are reprinting. If you did the Shop Hop last year, they decided to do a rerun. They told us there would be no reruns of the fabric, so what you're getting is what you're getting. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the Shop Hop, there is a all Michigan Shop Hop. Even if you don't go on the Shop Hop, you should buy the Shop Hop magazine. I was browsing through it.
It's a nice magazine.
It really is. It has, it probably doesn't have every shop in Michigan, but it has a good portion of the shops in Michigan. It's got a lot of information about all the different shops, places where they're located, things like that. So the magazine is like $13.
Yeah, it's not bad for a magazine.
Not bad at all. And
and it's thick. I mean, it's not a little. It's got some life to it. It's got a lot going on in there, and plus there's patterns in there.
There's
five different patterns in there as well. So it's totally worth the dollars, even if you're not planning to make the run of the entire state or anything. Yeah, it's still totally worth it.
It got me thinking, and I'm like, I need to tell my dad to get me a Florida one, so that when we go to Florida, I'll have a list
for sure
of the shops. Yeah,
it's funny talking to different people because we have gotten new people coming in because they're pre-shopping. They want to kind of see what else is going to be out there so they can plan their months. And it's been fun to talk and hear what they have to say and what kinds of things people are looking for. All kinds of fun.
Yeah, and we stocked up on a bunch of notions. So if you use the Shop app on your phone from Shopify, it's the Shop app, you'll kind of see as things are getting added to the
Yep.
website. So you'll see there's a bunch of new stuff coming, but our Notions wall was kind of bare, and we ordered a bunch of zippers today.
Did.
So we are listening to everybody about the panic
Yep,
about
we've
Joann's.
got so multitude of colors in a couple different sizes for zippers,
Mhm.
and we ordered Velcro, just
Yep.
white for the. We'll see how that goes.
Yep.
But we ordered some Velcro. We're looking for some button distributors. We haven't found anything that we
Not yet.
like yet, so unfortunately, I don't have that yet. But we're looking to carry like replacement. You know, my buttons fell off the shirt, and I need to replace those kind of buttons, not just decorative things, which is all we have right now.
Yep.
So
So we are listening,
Mhm.
and we are actively adding, and
you may see the store rearranged again because
Again.
we have to figure out where to put them all.
where to put everything. Yes.
So yeah,
But
there's definitely going to be a challenge on our end to get everything
exactly.
a good home.
A good
I mean,
home. Yes.
a home's not necessarily hard, but a good home is sometimes not as easy as it sounds.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And probably in the next few weeks, you'll start noticing more of the fabric out on the sales floor. We're not holding it until the summer. We're just bulking up. So you won't have to wait for the summertime to see it all. But as it comes in and we get it online and we find a home for it, we'll be adding it to the floor. So yes, we're super
yeah,
excited.
Hayden's like, can I put fabric here? Sure, go for it. And I keep telling my husband, I'm like, go to Joann's again, see if they're selling any displays yet. We need some more shelves. Otherwise, you're going to get tasked with building some real soon. So it's been fun.
Yeah, so we have a lot of stuff coming up, and I have had a couple of people ask if there's been any updates on our retreat. I don't have anything new to say as of yet.
Except we're about half full. So
Yes.
We were a little under, and we're basically at the halfway mark.
Yes.
So they are moving.
Yes.
So make your decisions and.
Yeah, sooner rather than later. It's
Absolutely.
always movable. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Jeff didn't understand when I was like, no, you have to have wheels on that. He's like, why would I put wheels on? I'm like, just trust me, put it on wheels.
This will not be its home until it dies.
I'm like, we move stuff a lot, so no, it needs to be on wheels. And then he came in and I was like, no, I don't like it there. Move it over there. No. He was like, oh, I get the wheels now. It was like, I mean, I wasn't making it up. Not at all. So he's funny.
Okay,
so we never said what we were sitting in front of. So if you were listening last week, you probably heard we are sitting in front of the Acclaim today, and this is a 4-thread serger. So you can do 2, 3, and 4 thread stitches on this little guy here. So let me do that again so you can see. So it's Acclaim.
Yep.
And it does have air threading for the loopers and for the needles. So it's a really great, like I was saying earlier, the bells and whistles are here. The presser lift is over here, not back here, which makes life very, very easy. You don't have to dig, sometimes you have a lot of fabric here and it can be hard to get to that lift when it's in the back. So it's really nice that it's so conveniently placed up here. And as I mentioned, it does have that wave option.
Yes.
So we're on wave, but we're not threaded for a wave.
No.
Interesting.
That could have happened when I brought it over.
Oh, that's
it's
true. I'm
possible
like,
it could have gotten stuck on me.
That's interesting.
Yes.
But yeah, so we are currently threaded for just a basic 4-thread. And I will rethread because we're going to need to move everything. So we'll take everything out. But just so that you guys can see what's happening with that. Is down. Look at that. I even,
foot pedal works.
Trying to move the foot pedal.
Can you get it?
Maybe. We're just going to start sewing with that. Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
So this is the top of the machine. Put your foot on the pedal. You can see how everything just kind of moves back and forth.
Just doing a little jig in there.
That's the secret sauce.
It's so crazy, but it's so cool to be able to see all of that. So this section here is the part we were talking about. It's a clear lid so you can see inside. Again, unfortunately, that's not available on your machine to take home, but it is a really neat thing to have in the store so you guys can see how all of that goes. So no matter how fast you go, it's just a beautiful, beautiful stitch here.
And it's pretty quiet for a serger.
It is. So again, just a beautiful 4-thread stitch. Super simple. All threaded, boom. So we could switch different, just like we talked about last week.
Yeah.
You can go to a different fabric. You don't have to change anything. Everything will almost all self-adjust. The only thing you would have is possibly your differential feed. So
Yep.
Is that something?
Super, super excited for the retreat, she said.
Yeah. I don't blame you. Me too. So the 4 thread is probably one of the most common things, the 3 and the 4.
Yep.
I like mine to be wide, so unless it's not going to fit in my seam, whatever space that I have to cut off, I generally will have either a 3-thread wide or a 4-thread stitch when I'm serging. It's just what I like, not necessarily for any real reason.
Yeah.
I just like the wider look, especially if you're using it as a decorative stitch around the edge of something. It gives it a little bit more bang for your buck.
It sure does.
So I really like the 4 thread. It's definitely very versatile and functional. You can use that to do your edges of your fabrics before you throw it in the wash so you don't get that big ball of yuck when it comes out.
Yes.
Because that's no fun.
No.
Nobody. Ask Hayden. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember, we had a flood. Because COVID wasn't enough of a challenge. We thought we would, go kick the water heater, and we didn't actually do that. It just kicked itself.
Yeah,
and
on a weekend.
Right after we left,
weekend.
it sounds like, based on the amount of water that was in the store, they thought it was Friday night. So we left at 4.
Yep.
Back then, we were only open till 4.
And we weren't open on Saturdays.
And we weren't open on Saturdays at that time because of COVID.
Yep.
And so we weren't here Saturday or Sunday. And so Monday morning when you got here, there was 2+ inches of water on half of the store.
Yes, it was crazy. And which was my second time coming in and seeing water. The first time I heard it and it stayed in the bathroom where it was supposed to be. And this time the tiling, the drop ceiling tile came down and blocked the
the drain in the bathroom.
And so it plugged it like a tub.
And 2 days later.
2 days later, yes.
So it
we had some water.
And so we did attempt to wash some of the fabric that got doused. And some of that came out okay, and some of it we just said nope.
Yeah.
But all of it came out quite messy because, of course, you're not going to throw that into your serger at that point. But it's a great opportunity to prevent that from happening if you're planning ahead there.
Yeah.
So, all right. So do we want to...
You want to show threading?
Let's show, do we want to do a standard, or do we want to show and switch to the wave? What do you think? Wow, there's a lot of black
fuzz.
Yes, lots of black fuzz.
Yes.
So first things first, let's get rid of what's in there. I'm sure we have scissors somewhere. All right. I'm just going to pull all of that thread out. So literally I just hit the gas until I don't have any thread. So there is no thread in there at all anymore. And we're ready to go. So what are we going to thread for? Throw something at me.
Let's do a 3-thread wave.
3-thread wave. You got it. So I don't have to have this memorized, which is a good thing, because I can't remember a lot of things these days. So there's a chart that tells me everything that I need to do. So I just need to follow it. The trick on the wave stitch is that, do you see the little red arrows here? We have to shift, and that tension makes the thread do, that tension change makes the thread do what we want it to do. So let's make this one that. Perfect. So there's my sleeve, sorry. All right, so we are going to do our looper here. Do you want to do the top? Okay.
Wrong one.
Next, we'll just scroll through. So we talked about this last week, but you couldn't see it because we didn't have a camera up here. So there's a little click right here. We just push down, and now it's stuck. underneath in there, and then we just come forward and we'll hook that in there. Okay, I was gonna say we could do the other one too, but we'll do that too. So I turn this to threading, turn the hand wheel towards me until these tubes all click in. So I'll do that one more time. To threading, and then I turn the hand wheel until those click in.
And then you can't turn the hand wheel anymore.
And it is locked in, so until you take that back to serging, this is locked into position so that it won't shift at all. I simply put the tip of my thread, and this is the lower looper port, this is the upper looper port, and here's my little button. So this is lower, so this is the lower looper here, and it's going to just shoot right out of there. Yay! That is literally all there is. Ooh. I lost the end. Not that it matters. You don't have to do this. I just don't like them stuck. It's just bringing back on me today. Okay, stay. Nice thread, nice thread. Okay, so that is the lower looper. All that straightforward. We're going to click just like we did last time. So I'm going to floss that. Do you want to? It's the same. Doesn't. So I'm going to set that in this one. Yep. So normally my lower looper, or I'm sorry, my upper looper would go here. But I'm going to come one slot over because that is what I do to make this stitch work.
Because that's what the card
That's what the card tells me to do. That's the part that you usually forget when you haven't done the stitch in a while. And then we're just going to press that button and it's going to come out the upper looper, which is this one right here. So right here, and there's my blue.
Yay.
Just like that. Very straightforward. And that is literally all there is to threading your loopers. So even though we're making some changes here, this part is still the same.
Yep.
It's just we're switching in from here over one more slot so that it all works like it is supposed to. We are supposed to have in the right needle, so I'm going to take out my left. And a good habit is to get that screw back in so that it doesn't vibrate its way out and fall into your project, because those tend to disappear.
Yes.
So be careful with that. And this one is also going to shift over one. So it would normally go in the third slot from the right, but we're going to put it in the fourth because that's the way this stitch goes. So there, we're going to come down, and then, I don't know if that's awesome. So we're going to come and we're going to clip here. We're going to come across, and this part's just like your sewing machine going up and over your take-up lever. And then it brings it to the needle. So I only have one needle in, so this is going to be a pretty quick, a lot of thread here. This is going to be a pretty quick piece. I could, of course, squint and poke and put that through there with my needles, but since we're here and we have the ability, let's show you guys how the needle threader will work. So the key to this is, like we talked about last week, you have to let go. And I should have put an eye drop in because I could only see little bits. But we're going to literally take that and we're going to just put it right in front of the eye. I can't do it left-handed or I would. See if I can get a little shorter. Is that better?
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to just hold that in front and I'm going to push the button on the machine that says push to thread needles. Let go. And you can see it grabbed onto that already. When I pull that up, it pulls it through and it breaks my tail all the way to the back. It's that simple to thread your needle. The main thing that people don't do is let go of their thread, and then they end up pulling it right back out to the front.
Yeah.
So that's the hardest part, is to let go.
And unlike last week, we don't have two sets of needles, so we don't need to change
There's
over
no bar.
from
Remember last week I forgot to switch it over
cover
and
hem
it wasn't
to
working?
overlock.
You don't have to worry about it on this one.
You do not.
You don't have to. Oops, I forgot.
Why isn't this working?
It's not working. It works every time, except for when you forget to switch the lever.
Exactly.
Okay.
Minor detail.
Minor detail. So if I am following the card, my length can be anywhere from 0.75 to 2.5. my length is this bottom one here, so I tend to like that to be a pretty
Closer
tight.
together, yeah.
So I'm gonna have it all the way down as small as can be, and that's gonna make those threads basically pile right next to one another, and so I won't have gaps.
Yep.
It's gonna make it a little bit prettier of a stitch. That's my personal feeling anyways. And then my width is anywhere between 3 and 5. So there's the different pieces here. We'll just leave it on 3.5. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. I am done with this, so I can move that. And then this guy right here is my A, B, C, D stitch. And I just need to go to the B. And then right here I have overlock or wave, and I need to tell it I'm going to wave.
Wave.
So, hello. That is all I need to do. And in theory, that's going to now magically work and give me the stitch that I want. So we are going to put the foot down.
Otherwise it won't work.
Otherwise it won't work. So here you can see, I'll leave the foot up. You can see it just came up. I'm hitting the gas. Nothing is happening. So that safety feature is saving me from having to remove a whole bunch of thread.
Yes.
Because I forgot to do that part. So what it's doing is it's pulling that lower looper thread, which was that pretty variegated one, and it is pulling it to the top. Almost there. I think I folded it in half. And there we have the wave stitch. So you can see that lower looper is coming up to the top, which is that pretty variegated, and then it's standard. So it gives it a just kind of a rolled wavy look, and you get a little bit of this and then a little bit of that. This is so much fun.
It is so fun.
You can put like a we talked about them last time, the poly yarns or the woolly nylons that poof, and that really fills in, so you don't see any of your backing fabric in there. It really fills that in. This did a pretty nice job, but you can see a little bit of black here and there. That kind of poly yarn would really fill that in quite nicely.
Yep.
So you can have that, and you can see that my lower looper is that multicolored, that variegated, and so that is my entire backside there. So that was the thing that I can never remember which one. What is it that's going to make it pretty? Where do I put that thread? And so it's the lower looper is where you want to put that pretty, whatever it is that you want to come up top.
Yep.
So
yeah, easy. Like we didn't have any complicated things to do.
Nope. The only hard is remembering to move that over. And if you just use your card and don't try to do it all by memory, it will tell you to do that.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just the little things in
It's that whole
life.
following instructions thing
So
that's hard.
there is a 3-thread rolled hem, which the settings would change mildly, and you would turn that to C. So you have a couple different options with the wave, but it's just so much fun, and it's so pretty.
Yes.
It just is so cool. So what else you want to do?
Let's show them how easy it is to turn this into a rolled hem.
Absolutely. So we have a right needle in, which is what we need for that. And there is also a card for this as well. There's a card for, it's one card. There's a stitch section for this as well. And the rolled hem is this corner here. And so we just need to follow those directions right there. It's literally that simple. So we need to move our threads. We're going to use the same threads that we already have in there. Or we could change that last one if we didn't want to leave the variegated thread in there. But we're going to use those same 3, but we need to move these 2 over.
Yep.
And there is a little trick.
There is. Let's show the trick.
So that you don't have to waste all of that. So right now, this is stuck in there. I can't pull it out.
No.
So if I cut it.
When you get it in, it's in really well.
It's in there, right? So I could cut it and then do as I was showing you at the beginning, pull all of the threads out and start from scratch. But I don't actually need to do that.
Nope.
I just need to move everything over, these 2 over to these 2.
Yep.
So I'm going to try to keep my hands out of the camera. If you make a loop and hook it in again, okay, so I can have a loop back here. And when I pull it, it magically comes out. So now I can move that over and click it into the correct spot, and boom, my upper looper is back into the right position.
Yes.
So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hold that finger back there so I have something behind, because I need something back there to make this work. And then I click, and then I can pull it right out. So very, very easy to get these pieces into the right positions, and you can make an easy adjustment just like that. Yep. So I didn't know about that at first. Nobody told me.
That's a really cool.
That is a really very helpful tip.
Yes, it is very
to not
helpful.
have to cut and start all over every time that you have the same things. It's just positional. I don't have to change. I don't have to rethread anything.
No.
Everything's already threaded.
Yeah.
I just need to change a few settings.
Yes, just 2 settings, really.
That's literally it. So the first thing is over here on the side, I have.
Wrong one.
We'll
I'll
just keep
find it
scrolling.
in a minute.
We'll scroll through. It's all good. So my ABC switch, I'm going to turn all the way down to D. And then I am going to move my stitch length here. So I don't know if you guys can tell on this side. I'll move it back. It says standard and rolled hem right here. I need to be under that rolled hem. So I'm going to turn that. Sorry, my hand is in the way. And I like it, again, really nice and tight. So I just do one click in. That's my personal preference.
Yep. I was trying to see if I could show them where the stitch finger is. I don't know if you guys can see it move.
So if you look right here.
Too far. There we go.
See that guy moving?
That's it. Yep.
That's the stitch finger. And when we go to a rolled hem, we need to move it out of the way.
Yep.
And so we just do, like I said, I like one click in. So now it's locked out of the stitch field.
Yep.
But it's still on the machine. It is welded onto the machine. So I don't have to worry about losing it.
Nope.
It's literally right where it's supposed to be. So I am just one click in on the rolled hem, and your width, they like you to go to 3. So I am going to move that down just a little bit. I was at 3.5. So I'm at 3 here. I'm at one click in, which is, what is that, 7.5?
I think so, yes.
Toward the rolled hem, and I'm at D over here on the right. So that is literally all I think that's about where I was.
And then
I need to turn my overlock back to overlock. How about we just do the short end of this rather than a long run of something.
Or you can cut it in half.
We'll just do this. Oh, I need a foot.
Yes.
Took the foot off so you guys could see, and then it doesn't sew very well without that. Here we go. Just like your regular sewing machine, you've got that little clip. You line that up, it snaps right into position. So we're going to still need that blade. We've already talked about all of the settings. Put my foot down.
Yes.
So we talked about
Be firm about it.
that foot test. I can't move that without a lot of effort, which means it's down. And so my tensions are engaged. And I just did a short little guy here so that you didn't have to wait for me to get all the way to the other end. So you can see that I have that beautiful stitch, and it covers the whole edge. This is wonderful for a ruffle or a skirt edge, something that you don't really want to put in a whole hem or folding it and pressing it and yada, yada, yada.
Nobody wants to do that.
Who wants to do that? You can literally just do your entire edge with this beautiful piece. If you're adding ruffles to the bottom of a little girl's dress or something, this is a beautiful way to finish those. Napkins, placemats, all kinds of things that you can use this for. Literally anything that you want. It is recommended that you don't go like full speed, like hit the gas as hard. You want to give the stitch time to get that thread into all of those spots. If you go faster, you tend to get more little gaps.
Yes.
So this is a patience one. You don't want to go too fast.
Right.
This is just standard thread, and it came out really nice. Sometimes you'll see a little bit more black depending upon the thread. Black because my fabric's black, not any other reason
Right,
there.
right.
And there are a few things that you can do depending upon your threads. You can change a thread like what we talked about, the poly
Yep.
yarn or woolly nylon. I can never come up with that one. Woolly nylon.
Funny, I remember woolly nylon, but I can't remember poly yarn.
Yeah, it's just what we started using most likely. So yeah, it is. It's literally that poof. So it literally gives off a little extra something. So it fills in the gaps between that stitch really, really nicely.
Yeah.
That's one option. It can be a little bit of a bugger to thread.
Yeah.
So you do kind of want to pay attention to that. It is not that you can't fix that. So I don't know if you guys can see, maybe if I put it actually in the light, you can almost see that variegated thread in there.
Yeah.
That isn't showing. So my lower looper on this one doesn't show.
Not at all.
It is my upper looper that's doing all of the work here. So unlike on the wave stitch where it's the lower looper that's going to give you the bang for your buck, on the rolled hem, it's the upper looper that you want to pay attention to.
Yeah, and basically what it's doing is it's taking the thread, the upper thread, and it's pulling it down.
It's pulling it down.
So there's technically more tension on the lower looper in this instance to bring that all down.
Yep, absolutely. And so there are other things. Hayden likes to put fishing line in his rolled hem. To do that, you would want to use the elastic foot. There's a little guide on there. So you would change the foot out.
I didn't bring the elastic foot over, but someone asked last week
where
it goes. Let me grab the foot because then at least
so
we can show the hole.
The elastic foot has a little groove that you can slide in the wire, and then that stitch is created right on top of the wire. So you get a nice full seam there. The other thing that I like to do, and I don't have any of that over here either, is I like to use a heat and gone in my seam. And so that just gives it some extra poof in there. And because it's heat and gone instead of a water soluble topper, it stays in the seam. So no matter when I wash it or whatnot, it will still stay in there. So it keeps that seam looking really nice and full all of the time. So that's what I generally do. But I really like this. It's super simple. Once upon a time, I bought some really, really pretty organza. It had like embroidery built into it. Look at that. Yeah. There we go. I'm not doing, medicine's crazy. So you drop it right inside. Can you guys see that here? And it's going to feed back, right? That's where this groove right here.
You can do that, or you can also put it right in here.
Oh, just feed it down that one? Okay, so either spot, that one or that one. Because this is where that needle is going to be in that first groove right there. And that is what it's wrapping around. So if you put it in there, it goes in right on top of the edge of your fabric because, of course, your blade is going to cut the fabric. And so it just wraps right around. So that's where it's going to come out, is right there. So this is Hayden's favorite, what's the word I'm looking for? Trick?
Yes.
Or whatever you...
Right. It's funny because Lisa and I are like, why does he always sell the elastic foot? Neither of us would use
I never use
the
my elastic foot. I just pull my fabric. What do you need the elastic foot for? He's using it for a rolled hem, which makes perfect sense.
Yes.
And fishing line is super easy to come by, so you can get a whole spool of it.
Yes.
Very inexpensive, so it's a great tool. Like I said, I learned. I was taught to use heat and gone,
right,
which also fills in part of that seam. So it's definitely, there's more than one way to get a little extra something, changing out your threads.
Yep.
Thicker threads, I don't necessarily find work better because they don't curl. Sometimes they don't form the stitch as well. I'm not saying it's bad, but I wouldn't say a thicker thread would be my first fix to getting a fuller stitch.
You might be able to get, so I would say maybe a thicker cotton thread versus a thicker poly thread would give you something else. Most of the time, not always, a lot of times we tend to use polyester threads in our serger because most serger threads are polyester. I mean, if it's a true serger one, but a cotton thread tends to be softer, so you could get something that
would curve a little bit better.
Yeah, but like thicker polyester bonded type threads like that, they are not going to bend.
They're not going to roll
as
easily, which is the only reason. Not that you can't use them, and it would probably still look very nice. It's just going to have a different look to it.
It will, yes, it will definitely have a different look for sure.
But I really like the rolled hem, so I think probably what I use my serger for at home a lot isn't for my joy. It's for hemming and mending and different things like that. So taking off, you know, the extra 12 inches at the bottom. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But the whole extra whatever to rehem something or those kinds of things. That's what I tend to use the most.
Right.
But what I enjoy doing are these fun things that aren't super easy to do. Like you can get a rolled hem-ish on your sewing machine.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like this.
It does not.
It just doesn't have the same panache as these do. They just are beautiful. And not to mention, this is so easy.
Right.
It's just a piece of cake. So we went from the 3-thread wave to a 3-thread, where'd my edge, which edge did I use? This one. 3-thread rolled. And all we have to do to go to a 3-thread standard, which this would be narrow because we are on our right needle, but we can switch between those very, very quickly. All we have to do is go to C, right? C over here, and then I need to be back in some sort of stitch length.
There are actually, there's more than one type of narrow
thread.
Yes. So one of them would tell you to put it on C, one of them would tell you to put it on B.
The narrow hem is
C,
and
a
the
narrow
other is B.
overlock is B.
So since we're here, let's just go ahead and the hem is a little bit more narrow, so it's actually still the 3. So I just moved my stitch length. I'm in a 2.5, which is a standard sewing stitch. So all I have done is move my length back to a standard out of the rolled hem.
Right.
And I moved from D to C.
Yeah.
So you guys can see what this one will look like.
This would be really pretty, like if you had a scarf or something and you were trying to put like a dainty edge on it. But a rolled hem is heavier.
It is heavier, and it also takes a lot longer to stitch. It's using a lot more thread.
Right, and it does change the drape of like a light, flowy scarf.
Okay. Helps if you hit the right half of the foot pedal. It's actually it's
upside down and backwards.
It's very not right down there. So, not the prettiest. Let's try this one. What does it say? It says I can do anything I want. Try that. That's better.
Slightly shorter.
Yeah, just a little bit shorter stitch length. So that is the hem. So a narrow hem. And again, very lightweight, but it finishes. We'll keep our fabric from fraying in the wash and all of those things. And it doesn't add, like you were saying, there's a lot more thread. So the rolled hem is much heavier. I've lost that one. Here we go. You can see, I mean, there's so much more thread in the bottom one. So much more. And then from there, if we want, we can go up one more into B as in boy instead of the C as in cat.
Yes.
And I'm going to make that a little wider. Just a wee bit. And I'm going to leave it right there at 2.5. Unless you want me to do anything different. No. I like 2.5. All right.
This is a standard 3-thread.
So we've got a standard 3-thread. We've got our narrow hem. And we've got the rolled hem. All of those are basically the same settings. You're just turning a dial and flipping a different letter.
Yep.
So very, very easy to make some changes, and you can do a lot of different things. And then using that same thread and needle setup, but we had to move some threads, it gave us the wave stitch.
Mm-hmm. Easy
All with
peasy.
basically the same settings in the machine.
Yes.
Just turning a few dials and clicking a button.
Mm-hmm. So easy.
Very,
So,
very
so
easy to go from one thing to another.
Yeah.
So I just think the overall, you can do so much on there and you don't really think about it. You're like, okay, I can, I can construct, and you're going to use your 3-thread or your 4-thread or, whatever. But there are so many other things that you can do. A
Yep.
lot of people think you can't hem on this, and you can't do a hem like your sewing machine does.
Right.
That is absolutely correct. But there are definitely hemming options on your overlock machine.
Yeah.
I will say that, Caitlin. I will say it is, I think, easier if you're constructing something and using this as a hem
Mm-hmm.
than it is to take something that's already there and use it as a hem.
Yeah.
So, like, to shorten something and use this, the finishing is much more complicated. Where if you have,
Yep.
separated the seam,
Mm-hmm.
then you can go around and then just put the seam back together. It's
Right.
much easier to use this as a hem.
Yes, I would agree.
Where, of course, your cover hem, you can
Yeah, it's
do
different.
the round and,
Do the round.
and
Yeah,
whatever.
it's a little easier.
So it's definitely a little bit different, but there's definitely options that you can use an overlock machine to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, the beauty about these is, I mean, we didn't have to. I mean, the only thing that we didn't like was how far apart we had the stitch length on
Yeah.
the one stitch.
And it wasn't that it was bad; it just didn't look as pretty as I wanted it to look.
Right. So I mean,
But it was functional.
we just changed the stitch length. We didn't change. I mean, on my old serger, I would have spent 40 minutes fine-tuning
Finding the sweet spot.
Exactly, my rolled hem. I mean, no matter what, it never came out exactly the way I wanted it to on the
Right.
first try.
So there are some specialty stitches that you probably won't use very often. So here's the wave that we did. And then there is a slightly different wave if you wanted to. So the card gives you all of the information that you need. You've got your standard 4-thread, standard 3 wide, and then you have the narrows.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then the rolled hem that we just did, and a 3-thread flat. So when you do a flat lock, do you do the 3-thread or do you do the 2-thread?
I usually do 2-thread.
Yep.
No particular reason. I just like usually it's because I'm doing it decorative and I don't need,
Right.
I don't need a third thread.
You don't need it to hold anything. You just want it to
No.
look pretty.
I just want it to look pretty. A flat lock stitch, though, for construction purposes, one of the really cool things about a flat lock type stitch is that it is flat. So once you sort of wiggle it around,
Yep.
it becomes a very flat stitch. So it's great in an area where you might get some rubbing from something. So if you have like a tight, if you're making something that's tight, and like under the armpit area, or maybe a back seam, or on a bra, if you're that type of sewer and you're really good at making your lingerie, those types of places, flat lock stitches are
great
fantastic.
stitch for that choice because it does lie flat.
Put
It doesn't
some of
give you that extra bump.
Yeah. Yeah, put a little bit of the woolly nylon or poly yarn in your looper, and it's flat plus super soft. So those are really great traditional uses for those
And
stitches.
the poly or whatnot is also stretchy. So if you are doing lingerie type thing, it's going to move with the fabric very nicely as well.
Right. Yeah, and you'll often I'm sure everybody's had your underwear seam at some point falls apart, and it's that weird, really weird, stretchy.
Yeah, it's like what is this?
What is
you
this?
look at it, you're like, what in the heck?
That's
did they...
the poly yarn, woolly nylon type material that is used so often in that type of sewing because it's soft and uber stretchy.
Yep.
And
but no, the flat lock stitch is fun. I always got a kick out of,
wiggle, wiggle,
the
wiggle.
wiggle that we did at the front of the class when we were teaching how to do the flat lock stitch. Okay, everybody, let's do this.
Yes.
And then they look at it and they're like, yeah, that didn't do anything. And they're like, no, you got to wiggle it just a little bit.
Yep, you did not wiggle enough.
Yeah, it's a very fun stitch. We used that in the pillow.
We did.
Which I think I've got over here. So the standard stitch is this guy here, and then we basically just sewed upside down.
Yeah.
So I think there's flat lock on the other side of that one most
Yeah.
likely. But the flat lock stitch literally is just like the ladder rungs without anything else.
Yep.
And it literally is just there's no bump.
No.
It is
And if you want to do like some heirloom type sewing or something like that, you can run ribbon through those, which is really fun.
So there's the back there. And again, it's flat. There's no seam edge to come up. So where this one, it has that edge, the flat lock does not. It is truly flat. And it's just fun because you can do, you know, lots of fun things. It's a decorative stitch you can put in the middle of the fabric.
Yep.
You can just fold and stitch without actually
Yep. It's the only
needing any construction or
only
anything.
real stitch that you can do in the middle of
anything,
with
because
an overlap.
basically if you were doing that, you would just fold it. And I'm not threaded, so we're not sewing here, but it just fold it together and then you would stitch right along that edge. And then when you pull it open, that
Yeah.
gives you that flat seam.
Yeah, it looks it looks really sloppy until you pull it
open. You think, oh, that I didn't do that
I
right.
didn't do it right, but
Yep.
you did.
So I really enjoy the extra things that you can do on these. And it's very, very simple. Again, just follow the card and it will give you all of the information that you need.
Yes.
You don't have to have a great memory. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. It really has simplified everything to a very great extent.
Yeah. Yeah, no reason to fear a Baby Lock Serger
Absolutely.
at all.
And you know what, the one that we talked about last week, and then this one here, the Triumph and the Acclaim, have the air threading in both your loopers and your needles, and that just makes life very, very simple. It's there's no stress, anything. Even if you do just cut the threads and start over, who cares?
Right.
You're still going to be done in seconds. you know?
Right, right. It's not stressful.
It is not. And
No.
it's such a joy to use these machines.
Yes.
So we still have a little bit of time left for our sale. And
Couple weeks.
we've got some machines in stock. We have run out of a couple, but we've got an order already in for replacements.
Yep.
So it'll just be a couple of days. For the ones that we don't have, we'll have it just a minute.
Yes.
So lots of fun to be had. And
Yeah.
great prices and some goodies that come with
Yep.
our
Acclaims
sergers.
are $24.99,
Yeah.
and we have a little bundle with those as well. So, yeah, it's a great time to buy.
Absolutely.
Serger Month is always the best time to buy.
Yeah. I always get a little extra something in there, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, for sure. It is, it's a great, great machine. It's funny because I never serged. I mean, I used my mother-in-law's once upon a time to make curtains, and I was like, well, that was fun.
Yeah.
But she threaded it for me. So all I had to do was sit down and hit the gas, right? Well, you've seen that serger.
I used
couldn't
to
have-
own a version of that.
I couldn't have threaded it if I wanted to. I wouldn't have had a clue.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, you know, very interesting when you've only used a sewing machine and you sit down in front of a serger and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean,
so much.
it's like, I felt like I was sewing it like 14 times the speed that I do on my sewing machine. And I'm not a crazy fast sewer.
Right.
But I'm definitely middle of the road to upper,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope, not,
Yeah,
nothing like that when you sit down in front of the serger. It's just like,
Yeah.
and the feed dogs just grab your fabric and run with it. So
This is
it's
true.
just so fun.
Yeah.
And learning the things that you can do with the serger is fun.
Yeah, I mean, being able to create all of the fun things is half of the excitement. And you just your hopes and dreams don't get squashed.
They don't. They really don't. So, you know, step one of it, having any of the sergers that we've been talking about, is it's a stress-free sewing environment.
Yes.
Because it literally gives you everything that you need and it works every time.
Mhm.
There isn't the, like you were saying, you know, it takes me you know, the hour to figure out and to get
5
that
minutes
setting.
to finish my project.
You know, the project literally takes 5 minutes, but the prep of it took over an hour because you could just kept test sewing until you got everything where it's supposed to be.
And God forbid I had to sew the same stitch on 2 different types of fabric.
Right? You had to start all over again.
That was 2 hours.
But not now going on one of those sergers and trying to do a flat lock. Some of them, first of all, can't do a 2 threads. There are machines that won't be able to do that kind of thing. But getting those tensions is a whole nother ball of wax because you're asking the machine to do something it's not intended to do for all intent and purposes. So
in all the years of working with the different brands of sergers, to me, threading the machine, I can teach anybody to thread their serger. And if you practice enough, you will be able to do it. What I can't do is I can't give you a cheat sheet of what the tensions are going to be. And I can't always tell you for sure. Sometimes I don't know. Is it the upper looper? Is it the lower looper? Because the real answer is it could be either of them. You know, when you have 2 things that are supposed to meet at the end and one is going up to the top and it's not supposed
farther
to.
Than it's supposed to.
Is it because the top thread is pulling too tight, or is it because the bottom thread is too loose? And you know, that's really the.
And how do you decide outside of, well, let's crank it this way and find out?
Exactly.
You know, there is unfortunately no magic for those sergers.
No.
These, you know, I mean, I get a kick out of Tony's explanation of how does this work?
Yeah.
He's like, it's magic. But it really is, you know, I mean, it takes the guesswork out of it. And to be able to sit down and not have to know anything and be able to do these fun decorative stitches.
Right.
It's just cool.
Yeah. And
it's just fun.
They all come with, I'm so sorry.
We were talking, so now she's got me doing it.
They all come with the inspiration guides, and you know, the other thing that you don't know, like if you don't know anything about serging, like what am I supposed to do with these stitches?
Right.
So the inspiration guide gives you an example,
ideas of where you can use those,
exactly,
and how it's supposed to look when it's done.
Exactly, where you could actually put the stitch in. When you kind of understand what the stitch is doing, then you can envision all of the other places that you can put it. But yeah, I have never felt like, a serger threading it can be intimidating and it's easy to forget how to do it, and gosh forbid your thread break because now you got to rethread everything.
Start all over.
But it's something that you can duplicate over and over again. So we can learn, you know, when I moved to Grass Lake, I had to learn how to get home because it was a different route, you know, but I was teachable. I can do it without my GPS if I really have to. But
even after a couple of years.
But you know, when there's an accident and I have to get off, I'm completely lost. So, you know, that's what I always feel like that's what I always feel like tensions are to me. Tensions are like when you drop me in the middle of some place and I don't
no idea how to get,
because I'm directionally challenged. I have no idea what north, south, east, or west is.
Well, that's because you have to read directions to the
right.
But yeah, just the ease of not having to worry about what I'm supposed to do.
Yes.
For me, I would have never sat down in front of a serger and worked out on my own because tension just trips me. I mean, I understand it. I know I can fix it, but I don't want to have to fix it.
Right.
Right?
I don't want to spend all my time doing that.
None of us want to have to do that. And so the thought of, you know, I can very clearly remember Jean's like, well, you have to start with this one. We're going to start you on this one. And I'm like, no, I'm not stitching on that one. That one's not auto. I just told him no. I was like, no, let's start over here. I'm not selling that one.
You don't want that
I'll
one.
come get you. I don't need the memory bank on that one. I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's just such a joy.
Right.
And it made it fun and less, you know, when there's not that stress to it, you actually finish your sewing and your serging that you needed to do because it wasn't.
It does not have to be a doorstop.
No. Mm-mm.
It can be something that you use.
Absolutely. So, fun with serging. I have no idea what we're going to do next week. We'll figure something out.
Yep.
So it'll be a surprise for both of us, all All of us.
All of us.
All of us.
Yes.
And we'll see you next week.
All right.
All
bye,
right. You have a great
guys.
one. Bye. Oh, happy Easter.
Oh yes, happy Easter.
I can't
It'll
believe it's
be
already here,
Easter
but happy
before.
Easter. Bye, guys.